Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for watching us today. And I'm so excited about my guest today, Justin. I'm going to say your name right, Jinorio. Is that right, love?
Yeah, yeah, it's perfect.
Okay,
Beautiful.
good. So, Justin, I actually I watched you on Instagram. This is how I met Justin. For anybody who wants to know, is that I was inspired by his Instagram page, which you guys should follow because he's very positive and he's a coach. And what I love about you is your story. And I think that in this time of our lives, when we're all dealing with so many struggles, and each of us has our own. Nobody has been unscathed during this time of COVID. So I think that doing what you do and being through your own story is so important and so helpful to so many people. So Justin, welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate all that you said too.
No, of
Uh,
course. And
yeah,
I'd love people to get to know who you are and your story, love, if you could share it with us.
yeah. I'll share my story real quick. So I grew up here in North Jersey, and not far from New York City, about a mile outside New York City. And I grew up obsessed with being an athlete. That's what really lit me up as a kid, and I really loved playing football and baseball, and that's what I was pushed to do by my father too. And really, that was my identity. I spent, all of grammar school and high school obsessed with being the best athlete that I could in order to play in college, and um, it was fun. But that was really the only thing that I focused on. I never really focused on finding out anything else about myself. And that was my identity. So I got to college, and my junior year in college, I ruptured a tendon in my hamstring.
Oh,
Yeah. So a rupture is when the tendon completely comes off the bone, severs and rolls up. And it rolled up my leg, and they couldn't fix it. And that ended my career as an athlete. And at that point, I didn't know who else I was without being an athlete. That was it for me. That's what I've wrapped all of my self-worth into.
yeah.
And that's how I got my validation and felt good about myself. So having that being taken away from me, I was in a really tough spot. I was not only going through the physical pain um, and the limitations of having this injury, but there was a lot of emotional pain that came along with it too. Um, I was losing the community that I had been a part of as an athlete, um, mostly by my own doing. I was kind of pulling myself away from there. And I was also in a relationship at the time. And when you're in a relationship from a place of insecurity and low self-esteem, which is now what I had because who I thought myself to be and how I got all of this confidence was from being an athlete. So that was gone. So from this place of low self-esteem, I kind of pushed that relationship away, right? Like there's a saying, the thing you fear the most, you're already creating. Yeah. So like
True.
if you're like so fearful of being left by your partner, you're gonna start to be jealous and overbearing and calling way too many times and
Yeah, it's
uh,
like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah,
You make it come true. Yeah.
yeah, and we do, and I see that pattern comes up for me still to this day, and for a lot of my clients as well. So I lost that too. So in a 4 month span, I lose the relationship, and I lose my ability to play sports. And in this dark place that I found myself in, instead of like trying to find myself and see what the next chapter of my life was, I did the easy thing to cover it up. Where I grew up and how I grew up, I learned a lot about selling drugs and how to find them and how to get rid of them. And so I got into that. And in that, really, it was prescription drugs. It was painkillers, because I saw at the time how many people were using them, especially on college campuses back then. It was sort of an epidemic, an opiate epidemic that was starting.
Yeah.
And I myself got addicted to them, and then I started selling them. And then I lived this lifestyle of making easy, quick cash from drugs and jumping around from nightclub to nightclub and um, lavish vacation to lavish vacation, all trying to fill this void within me, looking externally to make myself feel better internally, which if you try to do that, it's a never ending battle. We're constantly doing it to try to fill this void when really we can make ourselves feel good without that stuff, was what I didn't realize or know. So I went on that path for 5 or 6 years, and I started to phase out of it. I started my own small business. I had like a swimming pool business in my mid 20s. And I started that out of convenience. I didn't even like doing it. It was just the easy thing to do to make cash. And I was miserable doing it. I was operating this business from a place of force, not happy or fulfilled with what I was doing. And eventually that started to wear out on me too. And I just started to feel worn out and beat down, not only by where the direction my life had gone in, but from the prescription drugs. But I got an opportunity to coach football again, right? And this, again, was something externally that made me feel good internally. And I was able to like put my addiction on the back burner. Like I could just keep operating with these prescription drugs and keep moving forward. I was convinced that they weren't affecting me that much. And I coached football for 4 years. I had a great time doing it. I got to travel the country and work with some really outstanding athletes, but it wasn't paying enough money. I wasn't satisfied with how much money I was making. So I transitioned out of that and got into real estate development and construction management. But again, like when I lost coaching football again, I lost another identity I had created for myself. So then there was another emotional rock bottom. And this time, instead of running from it, I faced it. And instead of ignoring the addiction that I was suffering through for all these years, I faced that too for the first time. And I decided to actually get off of them.
But why? What was it in that moment that made you think, I want to get off them?
I felt like I was at this pivotal moment because I could not get myself motivated to work.
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't find any consistency in working towards my future. And I didn't even know what that looked like or what I wanted it to be. I had no idea because my whole life I had been spending it doing things that I thought I was expected to do, or what other people wanted me to do, what my parents wanted me to do, and never took the time to actually find out what I like to do and how I could create a life based on that.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So when I finally got the drugs out of my system and I took the time to really work on myself, I started to have what is referred to as an awakening, right? A spiritual awakening is what I like to call it, where I went from this victim mentality, and I started to realize and become aware of this victim mentality. Like, life has happened to me. I have been dealt a bad hand, and that's why I am where I am, and really blaming everybody and everything else for my emotional state instead of taking responsibility for it. And then, right, and that's like the beginning of an awakening, is when you start to understand that your perception and how you view the world is everything, right? And that dictates how you feel inside. And as I started to awaken, I started to have this new energy and new enthusiasm for life again. I felt reborn. And I felt connected to everyone and everything for the first time. I realized I was keeping myself separate and apart and alone, and really not being a participant in life the way I could be and what was possible for me. So in the beginning stages of my awakening, as I'm looking for my soul tribe and trying to figure out what I want to do next, And now am working in real estate development and construction management, helping my family build their business. But it wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. And someone suggested life coaching to me. And I was like, what is that? I didn't even know what life coaching was at that time. And I started doing research on it. And it is people giving you advice and telling you what to do. The coaching that I was drawn to is what we call ontological coaching, or the philosophy of being. And it's very aligned with what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, getting people to feel the way they want to feel, connecting them to a future vision, and getting them out of their own way. Really, it's about who we're being and bringing that energy to life to create what we want. And I help people uncover what's authentic to them, by offering reflections and asking questions from a place of curiosity. And that's how I started as a life coach. Um, really just working with people on projects around careers and relationships. And then I used social media to find and get clients early on. And as I gained more experience, I wanted to help other newer coaches or up and coming coaches and healers to do the same thing that I was able to do for my business and myself. So
So
yeah,
that's you know, every step leads you to the next. And the fact that, you know, how you say, how you started working with your clients, you went through that crisis and of yourself, you know, and the relationship crisis. And then you also became an entrepreneur, you know, first in the pool business, which you didn't love, but you still learned you learned from that. Even, you know, we do things that we don't love, but we learn from them.
mm-hmm.
And then in the real estate development, you know, and so that's what makes you good at coaching other people, because you've had true authentic experience in this.
Yeah, yeah. Authentic experience in running businesses, and also, you know, and creating a business that's authentic to me.
Exactly.
Essentially, like, you know, it took a long road to get here and to find it. And now it's about finding out what's authentic to me and expressing that through my brand, my page, and through the work that I do for others and helping them come to the same place.
So tell us a little bit about your process. Like when you know, you get a new client, then give us a little bit of an idea of how you work.
Well, if I'm working with another coach or healer, I want to get clear on what their core values are, what their philosophy is, and then from there we could derive their purpose if they haven't gotten there themselves already. And there's a lot of soul searching involved in that, because that is the foundation of your brand, of your business. It's what you believe in, right? Your brand is the stand that you take for what you believe in the world, and aesthetically expressing that.
That's
And
brilliant. I love it.
so we start there and we uncover the core values. Is really, when you think of core values, think of, for me, it's like fun, enlightenment, individuality, um, expression. And from there, I derived what my philosophy is. And my philosophy is that we're each born into this world to express a unique version of life that is yet to exist. And usually that's through some sort of product or service that we're providing people. And that's how we express that. And I believe that following our intuition on creating this is our true path to individuality. And right, so that's why my purpose is to help as many people create that for themselves as possible. Because when we do that, it leads to more variety, happiness, and fulfillment in society as a whole.
I love it. That's it. You're speaking my language. But I love it because at this time in the world, but I truly believe that COVID was divinely orchestrated. And the opportunity for somebody like you or me or the healers that I work with is amazing because people are really vulnerable and they really are looking at their lives in a different way and ready to let go of things that no longer serve them. So it's the perfect time for them to work with somebody like you who's able, it's okay, great. So like, let's say somebody is in that place of vulnerability, but then they don't really know where to go, or how to get on, how to find out what their true values are, or how to find out what their destiny is. That's the hardest part. So having somebody like you who can give them a roadmap, like with them, work with them, and help them to create this blueprint and find their beliefs is so valuable. Like, I know that's how you work with your clients, right?
Yeah. And just going back to what you said, how this is an opportunity for us because a lot of people, many of us, and myself included, we kind of just go through life and we take what's given to us and we pick the first opportunity. And, like we go to school and we go to college and we go and pick the corporate job and we're just kind of going around the wheel like the hamster wheel. And we're doing something that might not even inspire us or probably something that we don't want to do. So when COVID happened and the pause button is hit, it gives us the opportunity now to reevaluate what it is that we want to do with our lives. And was working this job that was uninspiring to me the thing I really wanted to do? And if not, what can I do
Mhm.
that will bring me happiness and fulfillment? And
Exactly.
yeah, and uncovering that and then really finding out who you are. And it's hard. There's layers and layers of programming that we have to work through and uncover, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I've learned how to, if you embark on something like this and you want to create your dream life, like, get as much ammo as possible. Like, I always look at it like I have an army of healers. They always say it takes a village, and
Yeah.
so it really does. Like, you have to take. There's lots of people that do what you do or what I do, but you've got to find the person that you connect with, or that that your energy matches their energy. Like, there's going to be people watching, and they're going to love your story, and they're going to say, this guy's going to help me, and then get him on your team, because that's, like, you want that person in your army. So I always, line up those people that can really help you, like you, with what you're doing. I mean, having somebody like you as their coach is amazing because you don't just it's not like a one-time coaching, right? You offer lots of different ways that you support them, right?
Yeah. So I have a coaching program that I offer people, but I also offer them the continued support, ongoing, right? Like showing up getting on a call once a week. And I believe in coaching so much and the support and the community that it provided me that I still work with my own coach. I still work with my own therapist, right? And like having that support, having somebody that believes in you, sometimes more than you believe in yourself, and who holds you accountable and keeps you in integrity with the things you said you wanted to do,
Mhm.
and reflects back to you how you're getting in your own way, how you're overcomplicating or overthinking things, how you're making decisions based on fear rather than love. All of these things I found extremely valuable for me. And I see my business as a vessel for my continued awakening, right? Because when you're working on your own business, you have to confront limiting beliefs, old stories that are holding you back, things that you would never have to face if you weren't embarking on this journey to create your own business, right? So, um, yeah, that community support, and the more that you put yourself around people who believe in what you're doing, who support you, and who are doing similar things, the more your mindset begins to change. And as your mindset begins to change and your beliefs about who you are and what you can accomplish change, the results start to change.
Exactly, and that's scary too. Like how you said, when you stopped playing football and then you pulled yourself away from those people and that relationship, that it's scary because you're lonely sometimes, or because you are changing. Sometimes people say to you, you've changed. Well, yeah, we do change. And that's the courage it takes to find these new people in your life. And they do come, and the opportunities come. Like, I mean, I agree with you. I have a coach that I work with, and I kind of, I just keep my mind open to any opportunities that come and explore them all. But we're here because we've all got work. If we didn't have work, we wouldn't be here anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
the biggest struggle is the self-sabotage, because we all do it, whether it's with weight or with like that self-talk, like you said, or how can I do this, or I'm not good enough, and so that's where you come in, love. I'm going to
Yeah.
call you.
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of ways that we get in our own way, but it's not only reflecting back to people how they're getting in their own way, it's reflecting back to them the greatness that exists within them and has always been there, that we are kind of asleep to, because we've been looking outside of ourselves our whole lives, and that's how our minds have been trained. We e- everything, like from marketing ads, they they use lack and scarcity, and they prey on those emotions in order to sell products to us and make us believe that there isn't enough of this or isn't enough of that, or we're going to feel better if we have this thing
Right.
outside of us, right? So it's really turning that around and practicing generating your own emotional state.
Yeah. Like you said before, taking
Yeah.
responsibility, and also like those moments of like that glimpse of greatness, like when you, like if you take Justin, you when you were really at rock bottom, where you were like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I can't do the drugs, I can't do this, I can't. But you never would have imagined that you would have had this amazing coaching business, and that you really guiding people, you've become this incredible coach guiding people. And then when you see that, just like negativity feeds on itself, so does positivity. So suddenly you're like, holy monsters, like I can, and you start seeing the glimpses. That's what you start running after.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And it's possible for all of us. I believe it's possible for us all to make that transition. And really, all it takes is to just start, and to start envisioning what your future will look like, or what you want it to look like for yourself, and just work towards it slowly every day. Um, and like I said, for myself, I know that I couldn't be where I am today without the support that I've gotten and the investments I made in myself through coaching and therapy and all the things.
Exactly. So Justin, how can people find you? And just give us, I mean, I will put your website down there, but just if someone wants to find you, what's the best way?
On Instagram at I am Justin Jinorio. So the last name spelled Jinorio. And my website is on my Instagram, and it's also iamjustinjanorio.com. So if you want to find me, you could find me on Instagram, send me a DM, go to my website, schedule a call. Very simple.
Brilliant. I thank you for your time, love. I'm glad you shared your story with us. And I know we could carry on talking and talking, but at least this way people get a good feel for who you are and how they can find you, and how there's, how they can. I think you say this on your website, something about like living on purpose. What is the quote that you?
Oh yeah, living like life on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, because we could just spiral and get into, we get into habits and just automatic ways of being, and we kind of just go through life doing the same routines. And really, that's how our mind works. Like by the time we get into our 30s, we're mostly just habit and routine.
Yeah.
And it's about breaking that so that we could create something new for ourselves.
Amazing. I love it. Justin, thank you for your time, love. And you and I will be in touch. And everybody call him. Look what you could get. Imagine having this guy as your coach. I mean, come on. Justin, take care, honey.
Thank you
Goodbye.